What is up, YouTube? We are back.
Hope
Took a
it,
quick
hope
break.
hope everybody isn't worried about a black bag situation, but we still out here. It's good to try to unplug from time to time, take a little break, relax the mind, work on a little home improvement projects and whatnot, climb the mountains, sing the songs that you'd like to sing till you realize you don't have that kind of time and you're right back into it.
Right? Yeah, it's not like there was any lack of happenings these last couple of weeks. Shit has still been popping off, and it's not getting any slower.
Nope, not at all.
If anything, it's starting off earlier than it did last year. Couple month fucking head start on the riots.
It's warm enough.
All right.
Spring break was like the pregame.
Hey Sharon, we missed you.
Missed everybody. Hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah.
Surviving Biden's America, Biden's fortified America. Hope you're all well.
We are. We're here. Just been laying low.
Burying my guns.
Yeah.
Not all of them, though.
Don't get any ideas out there, everybody. Sharon says
Well,
barely surviving.
surviving is surviving.
Yep. No matter how you do it, as long as you do it, right?
Yep.
So I mean, like I said, there's been plenty of news since the last time we were on. I don't even know what we talked about the very last time. I think it was Syria, which
Yep.
is continuing to be a problem. But now it's not just Syria and Taiwan, it's also the Ukraine with Russia. Tulsi Gabbard actually went on Fox yesterday and said that started warning about a potential conflict with Russia over Ukraine.
Yes. Well, they're the Cold War nonsense, all that shit's back. The we have to have enemies in Biden's America to funnel these war machines. I think we were talking pre-show about Raytheon.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna get their money back for hoisting the corpse that is Biden into the White House.
Right. Is this what all the leftists meant when they said that things would get back to normal under Biden?
They said that the world is gonna be safe again.
Yeah.
World can't be safe until the Middle East is rubble, apparently,
The world is going to be safe again.
and also Ukraine and Russia.
In Taiwan, you see about today or yesterday, they said that 25 war planes went through Taiwan, and a ship, a Chinese warship, broadcast that Taiwan is a part of China.
They were just, you know how at the beach they have those planes with the messenger planes? They're just advertising the Olympics.
Yeah.
Prosperity and sportsmanship, peace amongst nations, all that shit that means China.
Yeah. Sharon says takes the heat off of China. That's what they're doing with Russia and Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
The same old song and dance. Sleight of hand.
China should Taiwan should be very careful. It looks like things are about to hit the fan here, or there, I should say.
China needs to reinforce those camps. They must be expecting a large shoe order coming soon. Kanye must have some shit on his mind.
It's crazy too because Taiwan came out and put out a statement saying they will fight till the very last man,
Good for them.
which is exactly what.
I hope they never have to do it. I hope they
right.
never have to see that day, but good for them.
I guess colonizing isn't just a white male problem, huh?
Well, I mean, it's up in the air right now because I'm still trying. When we left off, I do remember where we left off. Asians were white, and since then we've seen all this Asian crime, Asian hate crime, and
Did we have a redraft?
I'm trying to figure out if Asians are white, so it's and now they are the victims of racism. I'm just trying to add this up to myself, for myself.
That's where you're going wrong. It'll end up with you just getting a headache and saying fuck these people.
Just so we're clear, they're white, right?
Sharon said, "Oh, that is right."
Asians were white for 2 weeks.
Asians white for a little while. Lighter than white for a couple of weeks there. Yeah, this racial sensitivity training and gender. I don't know. I don't even really want to get into the crazy clown world that we live in now, man. Every day it seems like it's getting worse and worse. Biden's America doesn't feel safe. That just might be my point of view, but
well, he definitely him and Top Cop definitely didn't reach out to any of the precincts to try to cause any change because Minneapolis just can't get right.
Yeah.
Popped another kid while I was at work on Sunday night, man. Like, come on, man. You're really not making it easy for me to get home.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck, man?
Did you see the video yet?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I read about it that night, and what I initially read, like, it wasn't like biased bullshit. It was just warrant, just straight facts. But it seems like the dude just tried to run away and tried to drive away. I don't know. Did he hit a cop? Did he hit anybody with the car? Is that why they shot?
No, he got pulled over for they said it was because of an air freshener, but in the video,
but regardless, I mean, whatever. I mean, that's a part of life. I mean, it ain't just brothers getting fucking pulled over for fucking no reason.
Right.
But yeah, all right. But I heard that he had, once they did pull him over.
Well, what they pulled him over for was expired plates. So
okay,
if you have expired tags on your car, you're going to get pulled over. Period.
Been pulled over.
Yep. I have been through that.
Yep, been there.
Yep. Sharon says, "Where's Wes?" We don't know. Haven't talked to him today. Me and Red are going to get him a tablet so that he could join us more often. Apparently, the StreamYards app on his phone burns his phone out real fast.
Wes is laying low till after the trial.
Yep.
wants no part of this shit right now.
Yeah, Sharon. So yeah, that's what it was. It was expired tags on his car. In the video picks up with the chick walking up. There's a very large police officer that has him up against the car and who is about to put him in handcuffs. Like he has one arm up still behind his head, one arm behind his back, and he's getting ready to put cuffs on. The kid, he makes a movement of some sort, and then the cop says, don't do it. He knows what's coming. He's been there a couple times, the dude. And then the guy just slips his way out of the first cuff and jumps back in the car and is reaching around inside the car. And the female officer pulls her Glock, and she in the moment you could see it happen. I mean, she yells taser, taser, taser 3 times. She thought she had her taser in her hand, and she put one in his gut. And as soon as she pulled the trigger, he drives away. He puts it in gear and hits the gas and drives away. And she looks at the other officers there and says, "I shot him." like she said, "Holy shit" first, and then I shot him.
It's a fuck up. It's a big fuck up there. I mean, she's probably justified. I mean, honestly, from just him slipping and digging around in the car, you know. But
the warrant that he had was for aggravated assault, or aggravated robbery, one of the two.
Yeah, no, I mean, shit. People, they gotta. People and the police need to meet in the middle, where if we want justifiable force to be defined and to be implemented, you know, force that we could actually be proud of, you know, a police force that we could be proud of, we're gonna have to realize just fuck you. You're you know, you're already got one hand in the cuffs, you know, like the old man said in the Floyd video, you know, just go get it over with.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the simple fact of the matter is you don't fight anything in the streets, you fight it in court. Period. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of gray area as far as unconstitutional laws and fucking cops enforcing laws that are unconstitutional and that are wrong, and they have a obligation to not enforce laws that are unconstitutional, that kind of thing. There's a lot of a lot going either way, you know what I mean? I could look at it from both sides of the picture here, but regardless, like Sharon says here, that the chick was a cop for 26 years. She was a veteran police officer, not a rookie, not
mm-hmm.
You know, maybe that defund the police movement they had in Minnesota had something to do with putting this lady on the streets instead of in the office or at the precinct, you know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she wasn't you know, a patrol officer. But when you think about it, it's like
a holy shit reaction isn't a reaction from somebody who's been there.
Exactly. It's 26 years on the force. You would think that wouldn't be an issue, not knowing whether your Glock was a taser or not. And a lot of different places, a lot of different states have laws, or you know, have rules where they say that you have to have a taser on the opposite hip, because
no shit, it should never, your gun should be in one spot, and that's where should be where your gun is. Your taser should never be in that spot for this very fucking reason.
Exactly. And like I said, this is not even close to the first time that they say that a police officer thought that they had a taser in their hand and they had their pistol and killed somebody. You know what I mean? Just like if you remember the Fruitvale Station, you remember that the movie they made about that guy that died on the train tracks? He like got into an argument on the train tracks and the cop thought he tased him and he shot him and killed him. Like it just happens over and over and over again. Maybe it has something to do with you know, defunding the police, the war against the police that's been going on for a year. You know, any self-respecting police officer in Minnesota is no longer a police officer in Minnesota. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, me personally, if I was a cop in Minnesota, I'd be on my way to Alabama right now or something.
The social workers are pulling the wrong piece.
Yeah.
The social workers are not equipped to handle the streets, in other words.
And the newest news in this whole story about that guy that got killed yesterday is that the woman officer resigned today, as well as the chief of police for that town resigned today.
It's going to be a revolving door, like our legislators here in Illinois and Chicago.
Yeah, that revolving door is just
like we get a new fucking new head of police. It's like the chief of police, man. We get a new one every fucking term.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get right. They just take the heat for whoever is above them, and they gone. And then on to the next one, and then they gone.
Yeah, Sharon says that it was a robbery from February, and it was an aggravated robbery, meaning that that he either had a weapon or he hurt somebody while committing the robbery.
We're definitely not at the point where things are going to start getting better yet, because the first reaction when this fucking happened too, of course, is Little Caesars fell. I don't know if you saw that.
No, what happened?
One of the very first places that was looted was Little Caesars.
Yeah, I saw one of the. See that, and then the Dollar General too. You're like, come on, guys, really? If you're gonna loot the Dollar General, really? Like, you saved $7. You know what I mean? And for as much as people want to talk shit about the insurrection and January 6th, it's like, yeah, look at what happened. The police kill some kid, 20-year-old, not a kid. He's an adult, but they kill some dude, and you go and loot and burn down a Dollar General. At least, I mean, not condoning it by any means, and I've always, like, every step along the way we've said this is not the right thing to do, but at least those fucking the MAGA people and the Trump supporters, they went directly to the seat of power. They were in the Capitol building. Yep. It wasn't a Dollar General.
Yeah, they went to the people that were responsible for their fucking problems.
Exactly. They went to the place, the seat of power, where these unconstitutional laws are approved. And I don't know, maybe there should be some notes being taken.
Well, too bad, because Top Cop and Feel made sure that shit ain't ever gonna happen again.
Oh yeah, they're talking about financing permanent fencing.
Mm-hmm. And sooner or later, these the ideas dealings, because they've been heating up, if you will, recently. Sooner or later, they're gonna strike in that old Capitol.
Yeah. Did you see the story about the other Capitol police officer that was murdered? Actually, the only one that was murdered.
Correct.
By the Louis Farrakhan supporter, the cult of Farrakhan.
I was sitting in my kitchen, and that just happened to come across either my phone or the TV in the kitchen. And I was waiting to hear terrorist. Didn't hear terrorism. I said, okay, he's not a white guy. And then I immediately thought, it's got to be another Syrian. They got it. It's got to be. Fucking Biden starts bombing them, and it's just been bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, that's one thing we didn't touch on. The Syrian dude that was the mass shooter at, I believe, what was it, Boulder, Colorado, the grocery store. He was a Syrian.
There's been some fucked up things going on in some army bases too recently.
Oh yeah, some things that haven't been in the news at all, like zero coverage, because they have names that are not Smith and Barnes, and
the names do not fit the narrative.
Yeah, Magusta, I did see
too many syllables
of the accidental shooting. That's what we were just talking about. Yes, it was
just a desk pop.
Accidental, but
nah, there's no way in hell, man. You just got to hold your fucking ground. See, that was the dumbest thing they could have done, was saying that it was accidental. Because now, like, look what the fuck you caused. Mm-hmm. I mean, hearing your description of the fucking video, somebody's breaking away from you and not running, not just hitting the bricks and trying to get away, not like that. Jumping into the car, digging around, and not immediately hitting the fucking the driving, because then you got to worry about him, potentially trying to run you over. That's a whole nother thing. But I could even see dude gets in the car, pops it in gear, gone. All right, maybe a slim benefit of the doubt that you shouldn't have shot. But if he's in the car for more than fucking 5 seconds, rustling around at all, you have to think that he's fucking grabbing something. You fucking absolutely have to. And
And that's
you got to do what the fuck you got to do to fucking go home, man. You fucking, if you're in fear for your life, you got to do what the fuck you got to do.
And that I think that's the exact right take, is that even if, you know, if, big if in quotation marks, if it was accidental, it doesn't matter at that point whether it be a taser or a pistol. The use of force is warranted.
Yes.
So I do hear where you're coming from with that saying, and releasing the body cam footage, you know, saying that it was an accidental discharge.
Yeah,
that just means your fucking police officers are completely.
He's a fucking clown. Yep. Yeah. Fucking inept as fuck.
Yep. And whose fault is that, though? You know what I mean?
I said it at the bar, man. As soon as this shit happened Sunday night, like, I need to start having some fucking seminars and teach some of these fucking guys on the streets how to do their fucking job. Take them through the hood for, you know, a couple trips around the block, so they could just, you know, get accustomed to not shooting everybody you got a fucking problem with, for one, but dealing with shit, man. Shit talk. Have some fucking fun. Let people go home
completely untouched. Well, imagine that.
Don't say that, man, because I'm sure Antifa's got their eyes on it.
Right? They tried when Andy No's book came out in Portland. They tried to get that Barnes and Noble shut down. Sharon's here says several a day.
Amazon would love to see the Barnes and Nobles go up.
Right. That was their main game plan from the beginning.
There's just too many connections here now.
Magusta said the woman officer totally panicked. She did. And that's what makes me think maybe she's not a patrol officer. Maybe those 200 police officers that quit or retired in Minnesota forced her back on the patrol. Maybe she was completely untrained. Who knows? Who knows? Mm-hmm. But for the simple fact of the matter that a 26-year veteran of the police force mistook a taser for her service weapon, that's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. If you could be a cop for 26 years and still not know the difference, I don't know what to say about that. Mr. Wombat, what's up, Wombat? Welcome to the stream. We are back.
Welcome back, everybody. Unfortunately, it's the same old shit. Wish we had something a little bit more cheerful to talk about.
Sharon says, I think she was training a rookie.
No way.
Well, that's not how you do it.
No, absolutely not. Well, I don't know. Stereotypical police, maybe that is in fact how they do it.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, like we were talking about. I know a bunch of different states have laws where if you have a taser, it has to be on the opposite hip of your service weapon.
Usually they're worn on the front, like on your vest, on your fucking gut or your chest. That's where I see the tasers, and that's where I would wear my taser. Whether I had a piece on me or not.
Yeah, I mean, you should.
Where you rest your hands, because it's right there.
Wombat says, I heard she was a 26-year vet, but spent most of her years riding the desk. And that's exactly what I was just talking about, Wombat. My inkling is that she is not used to being on patrol and caught herself in a situation she shouldn't have been in.
Check the ceiling above her desk for how many desk pops she accumulated in 26 years.
Right.
Every third sneeze. Oh shit, pow. Crazy. It's sad. It
is sad. But that brings us into another point, man. All these Biden's just talking about, he obviously signed executive orders on gun control, but
not really.
Talking about this gun control laws, like, how do you think they enforce gun control laws? This guy that was shot, he is a direct fucking. like a direct correlation to the gun control laws because he used a gun in a robbery. So how do you think they go after people that use guns illegally? They do it with police with guns. Like, do people not see this coming down the pipe when they talk about gun control? Like, how do you think gun control is enforced? Do you think they just write laws and then everybody is just like, oh, okay, new law, let's do that? Like, no.
Guns just disappear. They're just gone. They vanish.
Yeah, that piece of paper was signed, so there's no more guns.
The world is safe. We did it.
Yeah, Sharon said, I heard it's next to your less dominant hand. Yeah, that's, depending on what state. I know some states don't have any laws concerning where the placement of your taser is because they probably haven't run into this problem in those states. But it happens all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I was graced with girth. So in a lot of taser situations, I could just, hey, calm the fuck down, put my hand on their neck and say, we're going to chill the fuck out now.
Yeah, you would think that, but in the video, the cop, the cop that's...
Well, it's a lady cop for sure.
Well, no, the lady cop was backed off. She wasn't the one that was
so
running.
She didn't even run. They didn't even run on her. Okay.
Yeah, no. The cop that was about to put the cuffs on was a big dude.
Got to be quicker than that, partner.
Yeah, exactly. And in the video, you could see there's like 2 minutes where he's got him up against the car and he's about to put cuffs on, but like, why wasn't he in cuffs already? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why did that take so long to do that? There's a lot of problems in the video, man. A lot of problems.
He's afraid of getting that lynching charge. Don't want to bruise the criminal.
Yeah, I think he was a black cop. Just off memory. Not for sure, but I believe the cop was a black cop that she like stepped in to help.
It's been a terrible week for cops.
He was a black police officer, and he's very big compared to the guy. My girlfriend just pulled up a little video to refresh my memory, and he makes a movement, and the cop, he had his one arm behind his back, getting ready to cuff him, and he just pulled his arm away from the cop, jumped in the car, starts tussling, kicking at the cops. The woman officer yells taser, taser, taser 3 times, and then shoots, and then says, "Oh shit, I shot him."
I think I disagree with you here, Wombat. I think good cops are cops and they're gonna fucking do their thing. And sooner or later, the nonsense are gonna start fucking weeding themselves out. Because they're not gonna be able to exist under the fucking microscope and under this fucking camera. You can see that they fucking can't. So give it a little bit of time. The good ones will stay good. Some fucking assholes will adjust like serial killers and put a mask on and hide and, get away with some shit that, it's always going to fucking happen. But I think we're heading in the right direction. There is a correct way to fucking police. There's a correct way to fucking interact with fucking people to make sure that you go home and they go home or to wherever the fuck they got to go at the end of the night. And we'll get there. But the police training and hiring up until this point, it's been a joke, and it's showing. It's old and outdated, like a lot of things, and it's just got to get with the fucking times.
But to counter that, like we were just talking about, if this lady is a 26-year veteran of the police force and she's been on desk duty the majority of her career, the only reason for her to be out on the streets now is because of the lack of police officers in that place.
Or just the defunding aspect where they don't want to pay overtime to the street cops, so they just sending the janitors out.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's the whole thing. It's like, if I was a good cop in Minnesota, I would get the fuck out of Minnesota. You know what I mean? All these like racial sensitivity trainings and the I can't think of the exact phrase that they use now. You know, where the military is looking into equity instead of being a military. You know what I mean? Things like this are going to drive away people that are, and I hate using the term good cop. You know what I mean? Because it really depends on the scenario. If a police officer shuts down a church because of the quarantine and the lockdown, that cop is a good cop doing what his, you know, his superiors told him to do. But he's enforcing an unconstitutional rule. So is he a good cop? Like, the good cops are the ones that'll just follow the orders. So I don't know. I catch myself on the fence as far as good cops go. You know what I mean? To me, a good cop they'll catch somebody smoking a joint and talk shit and throw away the joint, not arrest them and put them in prison. You know what I mean? Like you were talking about, how to deal with certain instances changes depending on, you know, who you're talking to and who's talking. I don't know. I catch myself thinking one way, and then the very next day thinking the exact opposite way. As far as policing goes in this country, man, you know what I mean. Every police officer in New York makes people less safe, because Chicago, even because of the super strict gun laws. The gun ownership is enshrined in the Constitution, so every single cop is making people less safe in New York City. You know what I mean? Magusta says, I saw a video yesterday of a Russian soldier who shot himself in the face while posing with his gun. Hopefully that's normal. We won't have to worry about that so much.
That's the new TikTok challenge in Russia.
Yeah, Sharon says, I hope you're right, Red. I just catch myself, you know, it's a really thin line from a good cop to a cop that's just enforcing.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother argument. Yeah, I'm just talking about guys that aren't fucking, you know, murderers, more or less. The whole boot order follower versus order giver argument is a whole nother fucking thing, which I'm right there with you. I mean, I 100%, if an order is fucking unlawful, unconstitutional, is a crime against humanity, both are palpable. Both are fucking morally palpable and should face consequences. The order giver and whoever the fuck chose to fucking follow through with that fucking nonsense.
Right.
Everybody's responsible for their fucking actions. But just in the sense of semi-wholesome fucking cops who are just doing the best that they fucking can, just like we all are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a job, you know. People have to remember, being a cop is a job. It's not a fucking, you know, they're not.
Yeah, they're not knights.
On pedestals.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just people too.
Magusta says, if they can vet out who's mentally and physically qualified for war in the military, then there's no excuse for idiots on the police force. Vet them out.
You think they do that? You think that's successful? I'm sure there's plenty of psychos that could just blend right the fuck in. Know how to talk the talk, walk the walk. I'm sure that process isn't as successful as you'd think. But I mean, they will weed themselves out. And I mean, just the mere training alone is what I'm talking about, is getting these people, you know, real training, not just, you know, the bullshit corporate social work fucking nonsense, but before you can be like license these guys, and before you have to spend a certain amount of time in the streets doing something, you know, just working a fucking beat, or just doing like fucking, you know, crowd control at like fucking, like the Taste or big events at your fucking city or state, and get these fucking hours in or some shit. There's answers.
Yeah.
We talked about real police solutions.
Yeah. And absolutely zero has been made on that front. Zero progress has been made on the police reform. Besides, Biden writing the George Floyd police reform bill.
I mean, these guys got to get some real hand-to-hand combat training, not just a couple days where they roll around on some mats, but
right, and
spend some time in the fucking streets. Exactly. And because
like 20% of their time should be training forever. You know what I mean?
Perpetual training.
Yep, just like teachers.
Training in perpetuity.
Teachers have to have continued education to keep up with, things that are learned. Police should be the same way. Augusta says this is all a part of the plan to take down this country. It's by design. We'll be Canada in no time. It's wild.
I'm not speaking French.
Like we said, what was it? You said it 2 months ago. It's like, could we just not have a officer involved shooting for a little while? Let you cool down a little bit.
Let the next death be because you tased a guy too much. I could live with that.
Right.
And
you're right. If this guy yesterday, if that would have been a taser instead of a pistol, it would have been fine.
So close.
Yep.
So close.
I mean, in the same breath, it's like in Tennessee this week, there was an officer that was killed in the exact same way that this happened. The guy pulled out of his hand, got into the car, grabbed a pistol, killed the cop.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This shit happens every single fucking day. There's millions of police interactions in this country every year. Millions. It's wild, man.
Shit. And even more when you count, how many times you interact with somebody at the grocery store who's off duty and you don't even fucking know it, Millions more interactions.
Right.
Unbeknownst to anybody.
And of course, it doesn't. Nobody here is saying that anybody being killed is justified. We don't know. We let the shit play out in court before we come up with decisions. We just point out fallacies and contradictions. This whole conservatives playing defense is not working out well for anybody. You know what I mean? In Minnesota, I believe that this is what the people in Minnesota voted for. They voted to defund the police. They voted they voted for
to soften up the police.
Exactly. Hundreds of police officers have quit or retired in Minnesota. Hundreds. And now they just announced they're spending $47 million to recruit new police to Minnesota because it's not working. Like, people in Minnesota are getting what they voted for now.
And that's absolutely only going to bring absolutely more problems because none of these cops are going to know how to deal with these fucking people. They have no rapport, every fucking area is its own fucking thing. Yep. There's no way you could take a fucking cop from Minneapolis, drop him here in this city, and everything's going to be fucking okay. He's going to rub a lot of people the fucking wrong way. He's going to fucking get rubbed the wrong way a lot and not, just simple fucking misunderstandings.
Yeah.
Like, that shit is definitely, it's going to add up to fucking problems. It's going to be a large learning curve for these fucking people, and hopefully they know that and recognize it.
Yeah, there's going to be some bumps along the way. You know what I mean? We've talked about it from the get-go. Like, defunding the police is an absolutely horrific idea, and it's gonna lead to people dying.
Yes, we need more police funding. We need more training. We need licensing. We need to double down.
Yeah. Everything that's gonna fix any of these problems is gonna cost more money, not less.
How much more money did Biden give to the Pentagon? Let's take that and give that to the fucking streets.
Yep. Magusta says not only do police need better training, but the community needs training as well. You have generations of people who are taught to hate police like they're the enemy. No cooperation.
Yeah. So you know how you fix that? With good cops being out in the streets, interacting with people, showing that, hey, man, I ain't your enemy.
Yeah.
It's the only way you combat that.
Having the police their neighborhoods that they live in. That'll change that. Magusta says we need Team America World Police. Fuck yeah.
I think well,
I agree, right?
Keep voting, vote Democrat. You'll get it.
Vote Democrat, and we will be policing the world and not policing America. Oh man. I mean, it's obvious. The guy, he had a warrant. He knew he had a warrant. He missed court. He missed Zoom court. Like, how the fuck do you miss Zoom court? You know what I mean? He knew he was going to jail, so he ran. Tried to run.
It was a series of stupid decisions for that poor fool, man.
Exactly.
Just run. You were away. Run. Like, they're most likely not going to shoot you in the back. I don't know. Knowing this lady, who fucking knows? But I mean, any other cop, I think now probably knows better than to shoot you in the back by now.
That was literally putting cuffs on him. Never reached for his taser or a weapon. He reached for his radio after the car pulled away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was standing there shocked at what just happened in front of him.
I bet. I could only imagine.
The video's bad. It looks bad. It feels bad. Everything is bad about it. But, and of course, anytime you hear a but, it's followed by something that goes directly against what was previously said. But gun control, man. This is what it is. This is how they enforce gun control with guns. That's how it works. That's the only way it works. So all these leftists and Democrats and people that are talking about police and how we need to get, reform the police and outlaw weapons. It's like, are you a fucking idiot? Like, how are you going to defund the police and then ask them to go door to door and get weapons? This death, to me, is directly attributable to the gun control measures. Like, he was a criminal. He was wanted, a wanted man for a crime involving the use of a weapon. What do you think those police officers are thinking when they hear back from dispatch? Yes, he has a warrant for a gun crime.
I'm not sure if people know this or not, but the police have a file on you a lot like your doctor. And if you got a history of some nonsense, they see that shit because they pulled him over, right? So they knew all this shit in the car.
Yep.
They knew all this shit about him and whatever other charges this guy has in his fucking history, Yeah,
and if on your record it shows that you have, interactions with police involving weapons.
Yep.
Guess what?
Positive interactions, negative interactions. It's all there. Every demerit you've ever gotten from an officer, and they know your name is there.
Yep. Every single time a police officer runs your name, it gets entered into your file as an interaction with law enforcement. No matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent. If they run your name, you're entered in the system. But nobody wants to talk about gun control now. You know what I mean?
No, not even Biden, because his big whiff that he's gonna sign an executive actions. I mean, all he did was he went at 3D printers and
Yeah, Ghost Gun.
gun dealers that sell parts.
Yep.
So you just can't.
Because,
what the fuck?
Because a pistol with a stock on it is more accurate than a rifle, says Biden, who also said that the ATF is the AFT quite a few times in that same speech.
AFT?
Right? Alcohol, firearms, and tobacco? No, that's not how it goes.
Why did you turn me out?
I didn't.
Wait, I know this one.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever let anybody moderate?
I don't have.
Well, it just said that I got timed out.
But yeah, those that was a huge whiff. I was expecting some action on that executive action, that executive order, and I don't know how soon that gets into place, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to order a couple uppers and lowers and have them on standby, just like the same when they outlaw these gasoline engines. Maybe keep one in working order in a garage somewhere or in a storage facility, just in case there's for a rainy day, I should say. Let's see what else is big news that we really haven't touched on. Besides this trial, this prosecution witness dropped the ball during cross-examination today, but I'm sure we'll end up digging into this trial a little bit later.
So I just got a message from Magusta saying that YouTube is timing people out again for some reason. Magusta said that they were placed on timeout by the channel. It said either by a moderator or by the channel owner. And last time this happened, who was it? It was Turbo, I think.
Yeah.
Last time this happened, I went through and looked, and there are no moderators on this channel at all. I don't have any moderators, and I did not do it. So I don't know. Maybe it was that. I don't know. I know YouTube has a lot of words now that they time people out for using. Maybe Democrat is one of them. I'm not sure, but rest assured, anybody out there that watches this channel, that watches these podcasts, that comments on these, I do not time out anybody for any reason. And there are no moderators. So, and just to let you know that is true, we were raided in a previous episode, and 100 people came in here, and they were all saying blatantly racist things, and I didn't get rid of any of it. You know what I mean? If anybody was going to be timed out, it would have been the racists. So yeah, just so everybody knows out there that apparently YouTube is timing people out depending on their comments, because it is not me and there are no moderators on this channel.
Well, you could try to sneak it around them and write some of your comments on the Twitch page, some of your edgier comments, and try to get it around that way. It'll pop up on my screen, and I could read them out, and it'll eventually make its way onto the YouTube.
Mr. Wombat says Will Smith and Antoine Fuqua decided to move their film project out of Georgia because of voter suppression laws. I say bye, Felicia. Yeah, is CNN still have their headquarters in Atlanta, or are they moving now too?
Tyler Perry's gonna have to burn down his studio again.
Yeah, right. Mr. Wombat says, what do y'all think about the report about CEOs coming together to fight voter suppression laws?
It sounds a lot like fortification, a lot like that Time article that we talked about. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, so it is not just a report, it is a real thing that there were over 100 CEOs of, big corporate America all came together.
I wanna go out and just let everybody know that this is not the only instances in history where rich and powerful people have gotten together to make a plan.
Conspiracy hour. But my conspiracy theories. It's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
It's getting harder to call people crazy. That's for fucking damn sure.
Since when does corporate America endorse any resistance? Like, how does anybody think that they are the resistance when they're backed by corporate America?
Hmm. The Resistance, sponsored by Pepsi.
You're right. The Revolution, sponsored by Nike. I think
Just
that
resist.
every single one of those companies, every single one of those CEOs should lose every single bit of federal subsidy that they have been given by the US government. Any company, any corporation that involves themselves in politics should no longer be eligible for government subsidy.
I'd like to add on that because I had some thoughts earlier out in the garage when I was working out that while I was watching the trial coverage on the Washington Post, I was like, oh yeah, this is Bezos media. I'm like, how the fuck is this honestly allowed to happen? That we need to get some integrity back in the media as well, and these large corporate fucking oligarchs shouldn't be allowed to fucking publish our fucking news either.
Yeah, and I think something's coming down the pipe as far as that goes. I think CNN is still being sold, and all it's going to take is one rich conservative to buy it, put James O'Keefe in charge, and clean house. Could you imagine that? James O'Keefe from Project Veritas being the editor at large of CNN from now on?
And fucking give Tucker the largest TV deal in history to read O'Keefe's fucking shit every night.
Yeah, man, it's a huge problem, though. I think that it's an absolutely huge problem, Mr. Wombat, that over 100 CEOs of huge corporations come together to fight voter suppression laws.
To make their mind up for you.
And these are
fortify
the same groups of people that fortified, according to the Time magazine article. You know what I mean? It's the same people. They fortified, which is changing voter laws, and now they're fortifying again to fight voter suppression laws.
You're witnessing the ongoing fortification, and it's gonna probably go on like COVID.
We need to do an IRL podcast one of these days where we take it into the streets and ask black people if they've ever had problems getting IDs. I think that's a good idea. I know if people have done it. People have gone to universities and asked well-to-do white people in passing, and they say that black people have problems getting IDs. And I don't understand that.
The president thinks minorities have a hard time using the World Wide Web.
Right, exactly. The president is a racist. Nobody wants to call this president a racist.
We have the records. We gave them all smartphones and none of them logged on. I saw the records.
Usually when people say that an entire group of people based on their skin color are not able to do something, used to be that was racism. I still tend to believe that is racism. Mr. Wombat says, nope, CNN still in Atlanta, unfortunately. Of course, because it's all words. It's all narrative. Has nothing to do with the actual truth of the matter. It's all about narrative. Yeah, did you see Iowa today? Biden sent a request to Iowa to house immigrant children? And Iowa said, absolutely not. That's your problem, not Iowa's.
Put them in the parking garage like you did our National Guardsmen.
No, they're already sending them to
I know.
Pennsylvania and Georgia, you know, swing states. You remember that whole 20 million new Biden voters?
Mm-hmm.
Where else do you think they're sending them? You could rest assured if it's a sanctuary city, you have unaccompanied migrant immigrants, unaccompanied migrants in your city right now. It's just craziness, man. It's just craziness. Gun control leads to people dying. These things, it all leads to people dying.
And usually later starvation.
Yeah. Followed shortly after by a wide range of the populace starving. Trump or Mike Lindell should buy CNN. I completely agree, bro. Mike Lindell should buy CNN. That would be as poetic can be. Did you see David Hogg officially resigned from his post as the Our Pillow CEO?
I did.
That's pretty funny.
Poor kid.
Right? It seems as though starting a pillow factory is hard work, and you can't just do it by activism alone.
I wish Wes was here to get his thoughts on Kid Cudi wearing that dress.
Oh yeah, me too. Because I was a Cudi fan until yesterday when I saw that shit. Like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like, trannies are real. Transsexuals are real. Nobody is denying anybody's humanity, okay? But it's weird.
Black Twitter was a mess over that shit. They're ready to burn his ass at the stake.
Mr. Wombat says, I'm black. I have no idea how I even managed to find y'all's streams. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you hear truth, you recognize it. You know what I mean? We don't have a narrative. We're just talking about the shit that we see every day that happens and giving our own, our own personal explanation. Everything you hear here, although it may not always be 100% correct, we believe it. You know what I mean? We don't say things that we don't believe like every fucking buddy else out there that just wants to agree with a narrative. I'm black.
With today's feel-good story.
Find y'all. Mr. Wombat says, yep, even the barking dog agrees. They're sending them here to Georgia. Mr. Wombat, if you're black, have you ever had a problem getting an ID? Like, I don't understand that argument, period. Like, how is voter ID racist? I've never understood that, and that's a huge talking point to the other side.
But I would also like to say that my FOID card and my concealed carry card is in fact racist, and I would like to be able to cut those up and carry my guns freely.
Yeah, I think every American has a fucking permit. It's called the Constitution.
And also, though, I'm going to have a hard time telling the next 12-year-old that tries to come into my bar with a fake ID, oh, fuck, I guess I got to let you get drunk and get your stomach pumped later. Otherwise, I'm a racist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's so weird, man.
And then drive home and potentially kill somebody on the way home, you know. These gray areas.
Mr. Wombat says, they stay trying to put black men in dresses. This has been going on for years. Guys like Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle call out this type of behavior in the entertainment industry. For sure. Yeah, me and my girlfriend have talked about that on multiple occasions where people don't really pop off until they make them androgynous. You know what I mean? Until
For sure.
they get that role as Mr. Nanny or whatever, you know. It's the same thing. There's a lot of talk about that in the rap world, about how a lot of the rappers that are big these days had to blow somebody to even get their spot, period. A lot of rappers are undercover homosexuals, talking about banging chicks and dogging women when it's all just lies.
You know, what was your first clue? You think all these guys are making millions in crack sales? What was your first hint?
Oh man, how about Hunter Biden going on a book tour? What do you think about that bullshit?
He's probably packing his crack pipe and his illegal firearm.
Yeah. I like how they call him a recovering addict when the pictures on his laptop were from 2019, like during the campaign run.
Yeah, every morning when he wakes up, he's in recovery, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't that the truth? I got a hangover. I'm in recovery. He said that he's smoked more Parmesan cheese than anybody that the interviewer knows.
Yeah, and that sort of fucked me up too, because I was like, I had never heard of crack referred to as Parmesan cheese. I was caught off guard by it, but then you explained it, and I was like, this disgusting fucking individual.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, essentially, what he said he was doing is he was smoking anything on his carpet, picking up whatever that he could find that even resembled crack. So he's saying that he literally smoked more Parmesan cheese and probably dead foot skin and whatever the fuck else you find on a crackhead's floor, cigarette ashes.
Yeah, anything. If it was a white chunk in the carpet, I smoked it. Mr. Wombat says, I've managed to vote since I've been 18. Yes, I've absolutely had a problem getting an ID and a chance to vote. Goofy white latte liberals and their backhanded bigotry work my last nerve.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a bitch to get a fucking ID, because I definitely fucking feel that. I don't necessarily think though that that's just a race issue though. If you're from the streets, you don't have fucking shit in your name, you know, it can be hard to get fucking an ID because they're assholes about it. You could have an ID that's expired and they won't fucking accept it. If it's expired by a fucking day, you got to have your fucking, you know, your mail pieces, your fucking birth certificate, your social security. And for sure, I get it. But
see, I don't think that has anything to do with race, though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying too, though. Because at the same time, though, they're giving all these illegal immigrants, at least here in Illinois, they're giving them all IDs and driver's licenses. So it's.
Do you realize that all these illegal immigrants that are being entered into a system, they are all, without even knowing, they're all being registered to vote? Like huge problems right now going on with voting, man. It's crazy.
So do you want, instead of being asked, are you going to be an organ donor? It's Democrat. You're a Democrat, right? Let's just mark that down.
Right. What do you
register you as Democrat right now?
Ask them in fucking Venezuela on their way to America. Like, nah, you'll just be staying here. Wombat says, yeah, and if you call out the behavior or go against them, they'll have you painted as crazy or crack addict. They did it to Dave and Kanye.
I mean, I just want to point out what those Kardashian women are doing to Kanye. I mean, look what they did to Bruce Jenner. So don't underestimate what those crazy women are doing to him as well.
Yeah. Testosterone has no chance in that household.
Man, look at all them fucking kids.
me see here. What Sharon says, I'd have to gather all that info to get my ID for my driver's license. It's a pain in the ass, but I have to do it to get it.
Yep. It is a pain in the ass. But
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
I said it during election time. It's a pain in the ass for everybody. It is. And
Of course.
could be 4 to 5 fucking trips.
Yep. For sure. Yeah. No, proving where you live, proving residence can be hard. Knowing
But-
where the DMV is, not hard. Knowing
But-
how to sign on to Wi-Fi, not hard. You know,
I feel-
knowing how to get an ID, not hard. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with race at all. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and if that line is so hard to verify your ID, why is, your ID not required at the fucking ballot box or do what, It should be similar to the fucking DMV line because it is, votes kill more people than guns. Always have, always will.
What really gets me is the airlines like Delta and United coming out and saying that demanding voter ID is voter suppression. And it's like, wait a minute. Has anybody ever tried to get on your airlines without an ID? Has anybody, do we not need ID to get on a Delta flight now? Is that what that means? It's just like blatant contradictions, man. And there's only so long we could just point out.
They're asking for an extra one now too. Now you need your ID and your papers.
Mm-hmm. Papers, please. The authoritarianism, the lines are drawn. It's like people just don't see them yet, man. People were making all these false equivalencies to the Trump administration and the Trump,
The good guys won. Everything's gonna be better.
Yeah. What's gotten better?
I can take my medicine and go back to sleep.
You're right. And now they just put the halt on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because apparently there's been 6 cases of abnormal blood clotting. So how's that hesitancy going these days, Vaccine hesitancy.
I'm still happily holding out.
Did you see yesterday? This shit, I could not believe this shit was true. The Pentagon announced that they have developed a microchip that gets planted in your hand that will, what did they say? It'll take COVID out of your blood with the transfusion. Have you guys out there seen this story yet? The Pentagon has announced that they came up with a biochip
For COVID.
For
Wonder what else is hiding in that software. I don't know. Maybe some kiddie porn. You remember when they found all that kiddie porn on the Pentagon? Who knows what they could be uploading into your system?
Yeah. Sharon's here says you need the real ID to get on an airplane. Hypocrites. Yeah, the real ID is going to turn into the COVID passport real soon.
Absolutely. You're going to need your vaccine to get your fucking driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming.
Mr. Wombat says, I didn't have a hard time getting an ID. I was actually being sarcastic. However, I can understand Red's points about having hurdles for some people to get an ID, but not due to racism. Exactly. Like, getting an ID is not supposed to be easy. You're supposed to be able to prove it, right? You're not supposed to just be able to walk into a place, say, yeah, I'm him. I live there. Give me an ID.
I'm going to try walk in there. I'm Lil Wayne. Yes, it's me.
Right.
And I'm going straight to the bank once I get this ID.
I think that the racism in general is being stoked by the fucking government and by the media. Brandy Zadrozny she wrote an article, I believe, day before yesterday, that said that white supremacist rallies have been like ghost towns. It's like a dozen people show up to white supremacist rallies. Yeah, and probably half of them are cops. You know what I mean? Those guys are feds. They're not real.
Well, one that happened over the weekend, I don't even count it a white supremacist rally. It was the White Lives Matter march.
Yeah, that was
And
one
person showed up. Like, is that really the KKK?
Right.
It's one kid. That this is the problem in this country right now.
Yep, these are the people that you know that we have military in the Capitol and fences all around the Capitol for.
This one kid.
One White Lives Matter kid.
Seems like we got them all at the insurrection. We got them all. That damn Ashley Babbitt.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of Twitter warring going on right now because people are bringing up Ashley Babbitt on how this police officer, this woman that killed that kid yesterday or Sunday, how her name has already been released to the media. And the person who shot Ashley Babbitt still has not been released to the media, or it has been. They just are not reporting it at all.
Yeah, it seems it was the worst possible outcome on that.
If you watch that video again of Ashley Babbitt, I'm not sure if it's easy to find anymore, but the hand holding the pistol has a really nice bracelet on that I'm sure you could see in other pictures of that day, in case anybody's interested in finding out who that man is. His name is out there. People already do know. They just are not reporting.
And it wasn't an accidental shooting. Nope. He definitely wasn't. He didn't mean to reach for his taser.
What's good for the goose has to be good for the gander.
A lead lunch, apparently. That's been the prescription for a while. A belly full of lead.
Sharon says, what happened to Sedgwick? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Sharon. Let me Google Sedgwick real quick. Got Sedgwick, which is leading global provider of technology-enabled risk, benefit, and integrated business solutions. You're Sedgwick. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're talking about, Sharon. The cop at the Capitol. Oh, they haven't released his cause of death yet either, but they released Ashley Babbitt's yesterday, and the medical examiner said it was homicide, which is a little confusing because anytime somebody is killed by somebody else, it's homicide, period. That doesn't mean murder. It just means homicide.
Got a media release from the Kenosha Police Department from an hour ago. Kenosha police officer Jacob Sheshki, who shot Jacob Blake, will not be subject to discipline and has returned to duty. I didn't even know that it was Jake on Jake crime.
Wow.
Yep.
What about Jacob Blake? Was he gonna face charges for attempted kidnapping and sexual assault?
It would seem that's where it's going if this guy's back on duty. I would say yes.
Or are they just gonna,
say time served? Just say, hey, we'll call it even.
Yeah. You got that lead vaccine, so we're good.
Yep.
Time served in the hospital. Yeah, the cop that died at the Capitol, his cause of death has still not been released. The medical examiner has not released his cause of death yet. I looked at it today, actually.
They're waiting to get some COVID to put into his system.
Yeah, it was a stroke. It was a stroke. If anybody's wondering, his family has already said it was a stroke. We could talk about Billy Evans, though, the other police officer that died at the Capitol. Also homicide by car. And a bunch of media personalities were coming out and saying that that we're talking nothing about the person driving the car, just that he died in a auto accident. It's like, I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy. Unless it agrees with the narrative, nobody even fucking knows about it. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Shit is wild. And we didn't even talk about our cover story about how AOC's that using the word surge is racist.
Someone better tell Serge Ibaka.
Surge being the root of insurgent. Racist. Did you also hear that since then, apparently some leftist on Twitter made some disparaging remarks about AOC, and it was followed up promptly by a visit by the sheriff's office to that man's house.
Wow. Yeah, well, she's got that group of people that are out there fortifying the internet. We talked about that. She has her whole little group of online soldiers.
Yep, like the Beehive.
AOC's got to stay in the spotlight.
Yep. Yeah, she's just another name on the list of word salad experts that use 385 words to say absolutely nothing. There's way too many of those people.
The words, like, how do you even land on that platform? How?
AOC?
A word that is used in terms of electricity.
Yeah, the Surge, the energy drink was like, come on, man.
Like,
now you're telling
really
me not to say the name.
How the fuck do we land here? This is what's important now. Go cry at fucking one of Biden's border camps.
Yeah, nowhere to be seen. There's brand new border camps that have never been opened before, popping up all over the border. Apparently, kids in cages now, not a big deal. Sharon says the border worries me. The border really worries me too, actually. The border itself is being overrun. Did you see the news, I think earlier this week, where Biden said that the construction on the wall isn't finished? Apparently, the government signed contracts to build the wall, and the government can't just renege on a contract because there's a new chief executive. So any contract that was signed under Trump is going to be fulfilled still. So in essence, all Biden did was stop the army from building the wall.
Interesting.
Right. And that's big news, because leftists are like, what? You're still building the wall? Like, didn't you sign an executive order getting rid of that on the first day? It's like, you actually believed him. There's the problem. Yeah,
Wombat says, who'd have guessed a nasty green soda from the 90s would be deemed racist?
right? Serge is like, come on, man. Our business is already not doing well. Say that, AOC? She's sponsored by Red Bull because she sold so many at that New York bar. The border really is it is a bigger issue than what's being let out. These facilities are operating at 1,000% more than capacity. You know what I mean?
In a supposed pandemic.
Right? These numbers are the highest that they've ever been, period. So the bullshit where Biden was saying that these numbers go up every year, every single year, these numbers go up and down. This is natural. Absolutely not. The numbers now are completely out of character for the natural swell.
So I'm not a financial advisor, but maybe invest in aluminum foil blankets.
Yeah, right. Those space blankets, fucking things are flying off the shelves. I wonder how much, man. They say that each unaccompanied minor that crosses the border, we spend, what did they say, $249 a day housing, feeding, and taking care of these children.
It's funny. It's like the light got shined on how much money was being paid to incarcerate individuals for fucking perpetuity. So they cleaned that up. They're like, man, we got to find some money to fucking blow on something.
Yeah, right.
Illegal immigrants are the new incarcerated blacks.
Absolutely insane, man. It really is. It's fucking insane. Sharon says they look like potatoes to me. A bunch of fucking a bunch of baked potatoes. It was really sad when I saw those videos of the coyotes just dropping little kids over the wall and then running off, man. It's like they got videos of little 9-year-old boy walking up to the police in the middle of the desert. It's like, come on, man. Like, we can't just let this keep going. How many fucking people are dying on that journey that never even make it to the border? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, does life really matter to anybody? Really? Like, when you break it down?
Does any of them stop to wonder when they're like halfway through Mexico and they see like the Coca-Cola factory and the Ford factory and Nabisco? Did any of them realize that the jobs are here?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, if they wait just a little bit, I guarantee you they're going to see more and more Americans heading that way to where the fucking jobs and the taxes, where the jobs are and the taxes aren't.
Yeah. And that brings up another question that I've asked myself this whole time. It's like, if like, say El Salvador, for just as an example, if you're leaving El Salvador because you're persecuted and persecuted by your government, and you leave El Salvador, why not stop in Guatemala, Mexico, any country that's in between here and there? Why is it America or bust if you're fleeing? Like, if I was fleeing America, I wouldn't go to Canada and then to Europe. I'd go to Canada. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. And then another thing that I was thinking about not too long ago, it's like all these asylum seekers, the actual asylum seekers, how come nobody is going back to Syria? Like, you know what I mean? Or Iraq or Afghanistan or Lebanon, and like these countries where the threat has been neutralized as far as, everybody in the government says now. You know what I mean? Like how if you seek asylum, why is nobody going back to their country of origin when the risk is gotten rid of?
Because we haven't developed that land yet. We got to gentrify that area.
Yeah, it's all
Turn
one
that
way.
land into big time real estate, so none of those poor people could ever afford to move back home.
Exactly. The Haiti principle. But how come nobody else is asking these questions, man? You know what I mean? Ilhan Omar came here as an asylum seeker from not from Haiti, from Somalia, right? As far as I know, Somalia is no longer an asylum, like an asylumable country. So why don't these people go back to their homes? And I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just my home field advantage thinking. You know what I mean? Why are all these people coming here to America if America is the most racist, bigoted, worst fucking colonizing country in the world? How come all these people are still coming here?
It's a very good point.
It's because it's all lies, and America is still the greatest country on this planet. Even with all of our fucking faults and problems, we're still the greatest, period. Sharon here says, #send her back. I am so down. I would even chip in for that fucking plane ticket. Piece of shit. I would totally take in 6 unaccompanied South American refugees in trade for one Ilhan Omar. And then you could send her brother husband with her.
Her brusband.
Right. Auntie Mama said to ask you, Daddy, Uncle.
Uncle Daddy.
So many issues, bro. So many things are not getting better. Things are not cooling down. I was hoping against hope that, you know, the election would finish finally and sometime in January.
Oh shit, we are definitely in 2 different directions because I'm still waiting for the Ideas big ensemble.
Oh, the idea, they were out and about last night, man.
But nothing major, nothing to get them to where Biden's gonna fucking talk about them yet. You know,
Oh no,
I'm waiting for the big
General.
instance. Yeah, I'm waiting for the big instance, for the big move.
They're gonna have to hit the courthouse really hard or something like that for anybody to even mention the idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, they tried to burn down an ICE facility the other day with people inside.
Yeah, that's not new. They don't care about that shit. That's not insurrection. Yeah, the idea, Sharon. Since Antifa is not a real thing, it's just an idea.
What is the idea? And what is the group that wants to fight fascism with fascism?
Crazy.
Fascismo.
Fascism died in the 40s, guys. In case anybody's still wondering, fascism doesn't exist anymore. There is just authoritarianism. And it's no longer a far right idea.
You'd think a bunch of people wearing Chase shirts would know about authoritarianism.
Yeah, right?
Another one that's funny too is the irony of people wearing NASA shirts crying about racism or crying about Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
Project Paperclip much?
Yeah, like all of them, all of the original members of NASA. Yeah, crazy business. It's just red brown. You know what I mean? The communists turned into brown shirts, and then turned right back into communists shortly after. The Nazis, they all became Russians or Americans. Don't don't think that they just disappeared.
MacArthur's turned looking closer and closer to Tesla by the day.
Yeah, yeah. If only he would have been more diligent.
Yeah.
I remember learning about McCarthyism in high school and how it was horrible and how people were put on the list of being communists when they weren't necessarily communists. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's too bad he wasn't worried about the schools instead of Hollywood.
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty sure Stanford and Yale and all these Ivy League fucking institutions are completely communist now. Like completely. These fucking teachers have sickles and hammers in their fucking bios on Twitter, you know? See, I don't even have a problem with that necessarily. I'd rather have a communist out in the open saying they're a communist so I could laugh and point, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the communists that have no idea what they are. It's a bigger problem in itself.
Yep.
It's those are the same people that are able to happily we need higher taxes. Meanwhile, the more and more bombs get dropped overseas. It's those kinds of idiots that
Yeah.
why we're really here in this position.
Yeah. I asked the only leftist that I communicate with vaguely, you know, once every couple months I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" But I asked him, "What do you how do you like the 46 so far and what's going on with the kids in cages and taxes and COVID passports?" And he said, this is his words to me were, "Taxes don't affect me, so I don't care. Gun reform doesn't affect me, so I don't care." Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. That's just it's a terrible fucking mind state. I mean, compare that to the assholes. Well, I guess that person would put on the other side of the fence with the whole pollution argument that, destroying the planet doesn't affect me. If the planet fucking blows up in fucking 100 years, it don't matter because it don't affect me. It's the same short-sighted fucking nonsense.
Exactly. So is that the way we should all think about things now? That we just shouldn't care about things that don't affect us personally? You know what I mean? And to say that taxes don't affect me, it's like, dude, gas has went up 98 cents nationally since this time last year. Grocery prices are going up by 20% up until now. Like everything affects you. Everything. It's crazy. It's scary that people actually fucking believe that.
Mm-hmm. Taxes don't affect me. So then why are you voting for higher taxes if you have no idea what the fuck is even going on there?
Exactly. If it doesn't affect you, then why do you think that you matter in this conversation? Like, kindly shut the fuck up then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mr. Wombat, that's the mindset of most Biden voters. Exactly. And we've talked about this for months, that these Biden voters, that when they vote for Biden, they tell themselves, "I'm not voting for Biden, I'm voting against Trump," which in turn, what did you say? How did you say it, Red? It nullifies their fucking responsibility for anything that comes after?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't vote for Biden. They voted against Trump. So they got what they wanted already. Anything that happened afterwards is not their problem.
They absolve themselves of responsibility.
Exactly. There's Wes. What up, Ominous? Sharon said, good answer, Red.
Thank you.
They don't care until it affects their personal bubble. That's the truth.
Yep.
So yeah,
A lot of selfish fucking children out there dressed as adults.
And I bring it up because that seems to me to be exactly what the left thinks now. It's like, oh, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. Oh, yeah, kids in cages is a bad look, but we're taking care of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, my people are taking care of it. I believe in them.
Yeah,
they would never.
It's like, come on, bro. Like, really? Like, yeah, we're gonna invade Syria. It doesn't affect me. I'm sure Iraq didn't affect you either, right? Afghanistan didn't affect you.
But Russia's affecting you.
Yeah, exactly. The Russian bots are affecting my life completely. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, CNN did admit did you see that today from Project Veritas, Red?
Yeah, I was just looking on Twitter right now that they just gave Trump the evidence that he needs to sue them for defamation.
Yep, because CNN, the director of, I don't know what he was a director of, but he was a director at CNN.
Of the narrative? Director of the narrative?
Yeah, he was a narrative director, exactly. Did you hear how they honeypotted him, though? Because it was hilarious. James O'Keefe got a very attractive woman to swipe right on Tinder for this guy. Honeypot strikes again. So he comes out and says that the entire objective of CNN was to get rid of Trump.
Oh, wow. No,
period.
Go figure.
Yeah, imagine that. And that does seem to
so
be.
So you mean that all those scowls and that never-ending ticker of all those poor people's lives, and not only that, but they were showing face shots of these fucking people. So man, y'all were just marketing people's death and despair for your own ill gains, huh?
Because
who'd have thunk it?
Because Trump offended them in 150 characters or less at every. Wombat says, even with all the proof, Biden voters won't admit their screw-ups. They'll just double down in their ignorance. Exactly. You ask them, what do you think about what's going on now? And they're like, oh, it's better than Orange Man. And that's exactly the response I got back when I was like, what do you think about 46? And the border, Syria, Taiwan, taxes, gun control. He said, 30-day wait period. I have no problem with that. Oh, yeah? Well, what if you need a gun tomorrow? You know? What if you're going to get a gun because you're being stalked? You know what I mean? 30 days? That's a long time to be fucking defenseless and relying on the police, which, by the way, went to a Supreme Court decision that said that they are not responsible to enforce fucking, restraining orders.
The police in general have no obligation to protect any citizen.
Exactly.
They are there to protect city property.
Exactly.
That is their fucking job.
Exactly. So he tells me 30-day wait period. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. And then I look it up and I'm like, yeah, there's like 10 states that do have wait times. The highest wait time is 10 days. And that is only because they have either 10 days to go through the paperwork or to push it through, because there's only 10 days. That's their max. And right now there's so many brand new gun owners that they're way behind on the backgrounds. So whose fault is that, though? You know what I mean? It's not my fault that you guys are so far behind. It's crazy. And then he says, he said the background checks, the 30-day wait period he's fine with, and then extensive background checks he's fine with. And I say, what does that mean, extensive background checks? And he says, making sure they're not crazy. And I said, so
how many times do you get banned from Facebook or Twitter before you're deemed crazy?
Exactly.
In this new fucking diagnostic world.
Exactly. And that just rolls into this whole red line thing that Biden's pushing through, that a police officer, your psychologist, your doctor, your neighbor, basically any fucking buddy can call up and say, hey, I think this guy's a danger. And they'll come and take your guns out of your house. Yep. Like, do you not see where this is a huge problem? The idea can go and, mass phone call on somebody they don't like Andy No, for example. You know what I mean? Just like that. 15 people called today and said this guy's a danger. We should probably go get his guns. It's like, have you never heard of an internet troll? Nathan Kesnick says, hey, first time listener here. I like what I hear so far. Terrible how police are being treated. I think it's terrible how anybody with a brain is being treated. It's definitely not just police, man. It's everybody. There's people from the Capitol riot that are still in jail. You know what I mean? From back then, months in jail and all the experts are saying, well, chances are these charges aren't going to stick. So all we have is keeping them in jail now and trying to get them to admit to something.
Air quote, Patriot Act.
Exactly. But I appreciate you stopping in, Nathan.
Yeah, welcome.
We'll be here a couple of times a week, every week from here on out. So come on back. If you have any ideas or anything you want us to talk about, just throw it up in the comments.
Now that we got Wes here, Wes, man, what do you think about Cuddy wearing that dress?
Yeah. What do you think about Cuddy wearing the fucking sundress? Ominous.
Like, personally, I fucks with Maynard pretty hard, and my man Maynard did used to don the dress quite frequently. Chili Peppers did it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the fucking only ones.
Maynard's a weirdo. The Chili Peppers are weirdos.
There's a statement. I mean? They're making statements. Yeah, but I mean,
how much does heroin have to do with their statements?
Yeah, good point. It's a good point. Fair. That's fair.
But that's what I think is, if you're a dude wearing a dress, you're a weirdo. Like, it doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean that I hate you or that I disregard your existence on this planet. I'm not taking away your humanity. I'm just saying it's weird. It's simple as that. You know what I mean? But fuck, now in this day and age, I could care less if a dude wears a dress. You know what I mean? I could care less. If I see you in public, I'm just staying the fuck away from you because you might be crazy.
Just don't wear a thong in public.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Don't just stay away from me, please. I still appreciate my social distancing. Sharon says the red line bill we have in Maryland, and they have used it. That's huge. It has huge implications, man. Huge implications. You could think back to any other authoritarian regime and look at what they did first. What did they do? They disarmed the populace. That's what they did every single time.
Repeatedly. Absolutely. It's always the first step.
Wes says, I wasn't a fan until I found out it was a tribute to Kurt Cobain. But yes, still weird.
Yeah, see, there's another one that did it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly though. Fucking weirdo. Heroin. Like these artists are in general not of sound mind to begin with, guys. So don't just go following them blindly. You know what I mean? Kurt Cobain, I fuck with Kurt Cobain, but yes, definitely a weirdo. Yeah, I like Nirvana too.
That's
I was-
funny though. But now that Wes mentions that, it does. I believe that is the exact same dress. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the same dress. He probably saw it at like a fucking, what do they call it? A Salvation Army, and was like, "Hey, I recognize that." I don't dig it, man. I think that they're trying. This is just another. This is like a limb off of the tree of disintegrating the family. You know what I mean? The family unit. This is just another way that they're doing that. Make the and you know we lived. Most of us lived through the 80s. We saw all the fucking androgynous fucking artists and musicians. You know what I mean? All the dudes wore fucking spandex and had the peacock hair. It was weird. You know what I mean? We've all been there. Or we've all seen it, I should say. I shouldn't say we've all been there. It was the same, Wes? It was the same dress?
If anybody's interested in wondering why this androgynous stuff is coming at us at all angles, definitely look into some of the clubs that our leaders hang out in and what they believe in, because there's a lot of shit out there on the androgynous male, and definitely some dots to be connected there. People that like to wear aprons and shit,
Yeah.
lambskin aprons and whatnot.
Sharon's here says, you don't think it's similar to the 60s?
I've said that I thought we were repeating the '60s during Trump's administration. I thought it's just all too eerily familiar for me, and I wasn't even alive back then, just from being a history nerd.
Yeah. Just from reading a little bit here and there. It's wild, man. The world does tend to circle back.
Reading a lot of Hunter S. Thompson. That's what really fucking. I read a lot of Hunter.
I
And it
used
just
to read a lot
felt-
of Hunter. I know he was involved in some fucking sketchy shit too.
But his perspective was. It was very fucking accurate, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It was unique, one of its own, and honest fucking perspective.
Yeah. But at the same time, he wouldn't have had that honest perspective if he wouldn't have been rolling around in the mud, you know? Like we've always said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Well, he was in it. You know what I mean?
To a
I have
degree,
I have conflicting ideas about Hunter. Yeah, a lot of the things that he said and the way that he said them were kind of revolutionary in the writing world at the time, you know. But at the same time, he was into some fucking pretty debaucherous shit, and it wasn't just drugs.
at least in his case, he documented pretty much everything. So at the very least, you could say he's in sense a historian.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I mean there's reports of him. What was it, babe? He was involved in the making of a snuff film or something like
Yeah,
that.
he was getting paid to make videos for politicians and well-to-do people involving
Mm.
kids. and murder.
Yeah, he was involved in some.
Oh, he was in the Epstein shit, huh? That whole style
Trying to get other people
of filmmaking.
to want to do it.
Yep.
Because he was a part of the system, but there were things that he wasn't willing to do, which made him, he was compromised.
Put him
because
on
of
the
things
outs.
that he didn't want to do.
Which is why he was smeared as a crazy
But he
drug
had dirt on
addict
everybody.
when it all came down to it, you know.
He had a lot of dirt.
Sharon says, I'll be 60 April 27th. Ooh, coming up. Got 2 weeks. Got big plans, Sharon? Gonna go party like a rock star? I didn't this long. Well, you're doing it. Still surviving, Sharon.
Yeah.
I never thought about what my life would be like past 30. Honestly. Like all growing up, like my ideas all ended around 30, 35. And now I'm past that, so I'm doing pretty well. All I can say is Franklin cover up. I'll have to look into that, Migusta. Is that the Hunter S. Thompson stuff we were talking about? So yeah, things don't affect leftists, I guess, now, so they don't care anymore. And my question to him immediately following all of that was, so you just stopped paying attention after January, huh? You know what I mean? Like, it was the campaign. It was the election. That's all these people cared about, period. They didn't care about our country. They didn't care about the actual issues that were affecting them at all. They cared about Russia, 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 and repeating what fucking Brian Stelter had to say about Fox News.
Their outrage politics, their daily dose of rage for the day.
Right? The rage bait. And now they've all got their vaccines and they're fine. They're good to go.
Pacification installed.
Yep. It's crazy too. It's like they want you dead, but they'll settle for your pacification. You know what I mean? That's all they want. They don't care. They just want to take what you have, period. Magusta says, if I don't see you, happy birthday, Sharon.
Yeah, same. But I'm sure we'll be back before then. We'll get a couple more happy birthdays in before then.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to soak it up.
Your soul. Not just that, but they want your children too. They want your children. That's the main push that they're on right now, is taking your children, turning them against you. You know what I mean? They think that if your ideas are wrong, then they'll take your kids and teach them the right way.
Well, now more than ever, take care of your fucking kids and your fucking grandkids. Treat them as little people and future adults. So now is not the time to sugarcoat or, I guess, coddle. You know, the world, show these little motherfuckers the world that they live in as early as they're mature enough to handle it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're an adult of sound mind, you should be bringing it back down, bringing it back local, getting involved in your block and your neighborhood and your children and your family. You know, this whole national conversation about politics is not where it begins by any means. You know what I mean? Like, I know I've talked about this before, but it reminds me of a speech that, of all people, Chael Sonnen gave to a bunch of young mixed martial artists. And he said, you have to be the king and you have to start where you are. So right now, you have to start believing that you are the king. You are the king of the room you're in, first of all. And if that's not true, then you're the king of your own mind. You know what I mean? So you go from the inside out. You have to be the king of yourself first, or else you're not going to be able to do anything, period. After that, then you become the king of the room you're in, and then the king of the house that you own, and then the king of the block that you're on, and then the king of the neighborhood. Like those are the steps that you take. And I'm just saying king as a euphemism for the leader. You know what I mean? Like everybody should be looking inward and then starting local, because that's how we actually change things. We change things in locally first. You change laws locally in your neighborhood. If there's a law in your neighborhood that's wrong, that's how you start. This whole federal government, federal fucking politics thing, it's like way next level. You know what I mean? I don't know. People just have it all backwards. It's like in one breath they're saying, "Oh, it doesn't affect me," but in the other breath they're saying, "Oh, it's so much better than if the other guy was still here." Like, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Go fuck yourself. That's all I could say for that. And I've been using that a lot lately. Just go fuck yourself, because you have no authority over me. You know what I mean? No matter who you are, you don't have authority over me. My freedoms are not up for debate, period. So you can go ahead and talk all you want about what you're going to change, but it's not going to happen here. Sharon says, I love that. Everything affects us. Everything does affect us. Especially economically, man. You can't say that taxes don't affect you. Like, how the fuck does that even make sense? How did you trick yourself into believing that? Like, gas prices went up 98 cents from this time last year. That means $1,500 you're spending more than you did last year to begin with, but before even talking about any tax increases or any tax laws that have been wiped away with the new administration. It's like, of course that affects you. Even if it doesn't affect you, it affects the prices at the grocery store, because they have to pay for gas to get it there. You know what I mean? Inflation is coming. It's coming in a big way. All these checks, these blank checks that have been being signed over the last 20 years, they're all coming. It's coming back. Mr. Wombat says, we're dealing with a population who are willing to sacrifice reason and freedom for the sake of feeling safe and normal.
Yeah, the appearance of safety, the illusion of safety,
and the feeling of normalcy. Like, people need to get it in their minds that normal's gone. It's not coming back. It's just it just isn't. It's not. So we need to figure out how to not give up our freedoms for the sake of something that's a fucking ghost. You know what I mean? Safety is a ghost. It's not real. You're never safe unless you make yourself.
And honestly, maybe it's not too terrible of a fucking thing, because that is the natural way of life on this fucking planet. You know, our little bubble has been bursted, and we're basically back on level playing field in some regards. You know, with the planet, lightning strikes, tornado, earthquake, we're, you know, normal and safety and all that shit's fucking been rocked and taken, and maybe it's not such a fucking terrible thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. We built a house on quicksand. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And now
maybe the Tupperware culture will slowly start waking up.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. People, like I said, we built a house on quicksand. People weren't paying attention. That things were just happening and nothing affected anybody, so nobody cared. You know what I mean? And now it's crazy, because now it's like it really only affects us, the people that are awake, that are plugged in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It really only affects us, because when I ask them, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. It doesn't affect me." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. For sure. And every new outrage incident doesn't honestly affect them anyway because they're perpetually outraged anyway.
Right. They're
They
in their
they are
mind.
the same. There is no growth. There is no anything. It's just stagnation.
Exactly. And it all rolls into to me, it's the left is taking every opportunity they can to make themselves feel like a superhero. You know what I mean? When you see somebody at the grocery store yelling at somebody for not wearing a mask, it's because that is the only instance in that person's life where they feel like they are doing good, where they are morally better than somebody else. And they're pulling out all the stops to throw that in everybody's face. I'm
Is
more
the ma-
superior to you because this mask.
is that much of the population autistic?
The spectrum is ever.
Or Asperger's at the very least, because that's
You
what
know
they're
what I
trying to
mean?
make a superpower in all the movies these days.
This is what it is to me.
75 million people have fucking Asperger's.
That's what it is to me. It's that these people feel like for once in their lives they're morally superior to the people that they're targeting, the people that are not wearing masks. And
Well, not only that too, but the people that they're trying to save and assist theoretically as well, because they can't help themselves. They need these white knights to come in and stand up for them because they can't use the internet or get IDs.
Right. Exactly. The Democrats say black people don't know how to use the internet and don't know how to get IDs.
That's why Karens and green hairs alike have to stand up for the rights of minorities.
It's crazy. That's just like saying the Boogaloo Boys are far right. Like, you, my friend, are an idiot. The electric bill? Yeah, electric. Yeah, let's not talk about fucking.
You can't say surge. That's racist.
Yeah, surge is racist.
It's just, even if it is a surge in prices.
Wombat says Trump being rat off, but is absolute proof people don't want honesty in positions of leadership. Brutal honesty doesn't feel good. They'd rather eat steak while plugged into the Matrix. Exactly. It's like what was it, Dozer in the Matrix? He said, just plug me back in. Just plug me back in. That's all I want is to go back in, maybe have a little bit more money when I get there. It's like that is the left.
That would be great.
Be plugged in.
If I didn't see the fucking synthetic meat machines and I knew that sooner or later I might not ever even get that first piece of steak. So I'm good. I'm good on that.
Fuck that. I'd rather fucking live in the sewers and fight than be plugged in and live a lie.
Absolutely. Throw me back in the gutter.
But there are many, many people that would beg to be plugged back in if they were unplugged and saw
it's the same problem that I have when I think over how things would go in a real martial law situation, because it's the exact same thing. Is people are gonna fucking follow orders and protect themselves regardless. There are gonna be those people. Yep.
Yeah. Absolute worst case scenario, martial law. I think Trump was right to avoid it at all costs, even if it was just for optics, because things could have went bad in a hurry. Moral high ground. Yeah, exactly, Sharon. It's the one time in their life where they feel like they do have the moral high ground over anybody else, so they can't help themselves. You know what I mean? They have to be the hero. They have to white knight because they're morally superior. When in all actuality, you're not. You're just an authoritarian fucking bigot.
And just as responsible for all the fucking evil history that you fucking, that you're crying out against and pointing the finger at.
Exactly. Right? If you feel guilty because of history, then go ahead. You know what I mean? Stop.
Go join the fucking Peace Corps, because
make up for it.
Tim Tebow's done more good in the name of fucking Jesus than any of these people have for any fucking one black guy.
Right. Crazy to me. Mr.
Like,
Wombat,
go join a fucking mission.
right? Yeah, go.
Get off the highway and go fucking join a mission.
You don't even have to go that far, you know. You can just go fucking volunteer on the weekends at phone banks or whatever. Do something. Like being on Twitter does not it does not equate to making the world a better place. I don't know if people need to hear that. Mr. Wombat says easier to control people through their emotions, harder to control people who can think. Of course. It's been that way since the beginning of time, I'd imagine.
Since the first thought was thunk.
Yeah, right. The ones that got the shot. Oh my God. Oh my God. Is anybody more higher on the horse than the people who have got the shot already? I mean, of course, besides Hank Aaron and Marvin Hagler. And
I had some questionable thoughts about your buddy who still friends with me on Facebook for some reason. I don't know who's keeping tabs on who, but he had his first dose and then went to opening day. Like, is that not they're not putting all these people at risk? Or they're not like babies and infants and shit there? You're not fully vaccinated. What the hell's wrong with you, guy?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's
by his own
talk about what you're doing.
Right.
Has nothing to do with what they actually do.
But by his own volition, that would be wrong. I would assume, right?
I would assume things are finally getting back to normal. They can go watch their sports ball again.
Also, and in the photo that he took and posted, there were no masks.
Oh, of course,
no masks on the groups hugging each other. Of course not.
Of course not. It's rules for thee, but not for me. I am morally superior, so I don't need to follow the rules that I make you follow.
I've paid my moral dues. Trust me.
Yeah. This is for a little background. This is the same person that said that they themselves signed up more than 200 people to vote in the last election.
But doesn't it fucking make sense now? After what we've seen happen this election, doesn't it sort of make sense? I could believe it a little bit more now.
Yeah. I still don't believe it at all.
Oh, no.
which is I think what he was playing at the whole time. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is believable. I'll just throw this out there.
We're totally doing this.
We're totally doing it. And again, since January, nobody fucking cares about what's going on in this country. Nobody cares about kids in cages. Nobody cares about our allies overseas. Nobody cares about any of it.
So what's the next time we can take Little Caesars?
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking Dollar General is all that cares now.
Sad.
Like, did you really have to loot Dollar General? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't have went a couple blocks away and found somebody that sold Coach wallets.
Yep. Or Adidas that made Nazi uniforms. Hugo Boss that made Nazi uniforms. You know, Anybody attached to some actual shit.
Nah. We're gonna go save $7 at Dollar General tonight.
Yep. And then next Monday when we need some milk. Oh shit.
Right? Since when is milk $10 a gallon?
Well, they don't give a fuck about that. I'm just saying that they can't just walk down the street and get milk anymore.
Oh yeah. The actual people that shop there, the impoverished people that rely on the dollar store to get the things that they need.
Yeah, like nobody gives a fuck. They swiping links and shit. Ain't nobody actually paying for that shit.
It's crazy, especially in those neighborhoods. You know what I mean?
Milk's free. Fuck you talking about, white boy.
Sharon says I'd be lost without my Dollar General. And I'm sure plenty of people in that neighborhood are feeling lost. Like, I shop there. How am I supposed to get my stuff now? There's no more store there. I don't know if you guys watched Tim Pool at all, but I was watching Tim Pool IRL last night, his daily podcast, and he typed in on the Google search riot, and the first 5 things that came up were all about January 6th, and there was one thing about what was happening in Minnesota yesterday. He went to DuckDuckGo and typed in riot. and the top 5 things were all what was going on in Minnesota yesterday. And then he typed in peaceful protest into Google, and it showed everything going on in Minnesota. So if you type in riot into Google, it will not show you Minnesota today. If you type in peaceful protest, it will show you Minnesota today. But no, nobody's trying to force a narrative. The narrative is being enforced.
Mm-hmm. It is taken care of, rest assured. Take your shot and go to sleep.
I know the one other thing that we are going to talk about that we haven't talked about so far today is the Chauvin trial. Me and Red have both been following as closely as anybody has been following, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So there's plenty to talk about. I think we're going to save that for Thursday.
Yeah, for sure. We could dig into that.
Because today, the defense just started today. So it should be pretty interesting.
Give a little bit of a teaser, I guess. Definitely been liking what Nelson's been up to. I feel like defense attorneys are back again, are great again with Nelson and Van der Veen.
Right? Defense attorneys are definitely showing their importance.
But I did not like the first defense witness today. I felt like he got grilled a little bit in cross-examination. But up until then, it's been it's been pretty decent case so far for Nelson. It hasn't been too hard to, in my eyes, to prove, that a reasonable officer, could be assumed to do what he did. You know what I'm saying? He acted as a reasonable fucking officer.
Yeah. Not to mention that, I mean, like I said, we're going to get into it deeper on Thursday.
Yeah.
But the defense started today. So the 13 days prior to today, the prosecution never really established what killed George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be like I said, we're going to get pretty deep into that. Obviously, it's a lot going on. I think the shooting yesterday just kind of nullified everybody waiting on the George Floyd trial before the riots start. I think it's go time now.
Another huge part that literally made me laugh out loud was one of the prosecution's pulmonologist experts said that he was asked about if George Floyd being a smoker, if that could, have any effect on his lungs and, the situation that took place. And this supposed expert said that 90% of people that smoke don't have any effect on their lungs. So, damn, man, who sponsored this fucking guy? Because he's getting paid twice.
Jesus. Yeah. That pretty much goes for all the witnesses the prosecution called. Apparently the dude, the guy that pled the fifth was going to testify today at some point. I didn't watch today, so I'm gonna have to watch it back. But apparently he was going to testify. So I'm gonna have to watch it and then we'll get back to it. But there's plenty to talk about as far as that goes. Reasonable doubt has definitely been established. There's 6 different reasons why George Floyd might have died. You know what I mean? And that's what a trial's for. So fuck you, Chelsea Handler. She said, why do we even need a trial? We saw it all in the video. Oh, because that's how we want to do things now? Fucking idiot. Yeah, reasonable doubt is all that they needed to show, and it's looking like we don't have to wait for the riot. Regardless, shit's gonna happen. No matter what they say, guilty or not guilty, there will be riots. And on that note, we kind of switched up the schedule. I know we've been missing for about a month or whatever in between. But we're going to start doing the podcast on a more normal basis. We're gonna cut it down from 3 days a week to 2 days a week, just to make it more bearable for everybody, so we don't play ourselves out, so to speak. That way we have plenty to talk about in the 2 shows we do. So we're going to do. What do you want to do? Red Tuesdays or Mondays and Thursdays. That way it's spread out.
Yeah, it's fine.
So,
I like the Monday show.
Yeah, I like Mondays too, because the media isn't really active during the weekend. It's all just puff pieces to get through the weekend. But a lot of things break that we can talk about on Monday right away. And then obviously Thursday is everything that happened during the week. So then we got the Monday show to cover basically what happened on the weekend, and the Thursday show to basically cover everything during the week. So Monday and Thursdays, 3 p.m., approximately 3 p.m. Sometimes we'll be here at 4, sometimes a little earlier. It really all depends on life, But we're happy to be back. We're happy that you guys came back to hang out with us and listen to our crazy thoughts.
Missed you guys.
Definitely missed you guys. All hell is going to break loose, Sharon. All hell is going to break loose. It's going to be... It's
for your birthday. It's all for you.
Yep.
It's your party.
So
just enjoy the ride. Yeah, exactly. Just hold on tight and enjoy the ride.
There will be fiery but mostly peaceful protests all across the country pretty soon.
Oh, it's going to be totally peaceful.
And if you're wondering how to find it on the internet, just type in peaceful protest today and they'll show you. But if you search riot today, they will not. Baltimore was on your birthday.
Ooh, noticing a trend here. That's rough. What else happened on your birthday throughout history? Might be a ritual date. It's interesting.
Yeah, it might be a ritual date. I have to look into this, Sharon. We're gonna have to start celebrating your half birthday. All right, guys. Well, we're happy to be back, and we'll catch you guys on Monday. Thanks for tuning in.
Once again, if you're listening to this podcast, you are the resistance. We still out here.
For now.
Drop